more of your video?
No, not yet, but I'm sure they will.
There are other sources also on the internet, Scared Monkeys and other places too, that I'm sure would be glad to put that whole video up on the internet for people to see. I'm curious, Jossy, with Beth Twitty and Dave Holloway, have you heard from them since this all has happened?
I haven't heard from them, but I'm aware of everything they're doing. I admire Beth and Dave very much. I mean, they are fighting for the recuperation of her daughter, or whatever is left of her, if that is the case. And I think that they are very steadfast and very firm in their intentions and will continue to do this job. I haven't had any personal contact with them for a couple of weeks now, but I'm very well up to date as to everything they're doing now.
I'm sure they're very thankful for everything that you've done too, and we all are, Jossy. A question that's come up, and this may be just speculation on your part, is there anything in the tape or any indication that has come to you as far as where Natalie's body may be? Was it dumped in the ocean, or what kind of information might you have on that?
Everything indicates the ocean. On the tape, Gerald Dompik says it very specifically. They were observing these kids all the time, and whenever searches were going on land, they were laughing, they were happy, whatever, under observation of the police. But whenever there were searches going on the ocean, they went into panic. And there's another point here to be made, which is also a deduction that we do about the sharks.
Right.
I mean, Joran says that Natalie asked him to take her to see sharks. Forget it. This guy had all this thing planned. Huh? That's another one of his big lies and cover-ups. Because I believe that what he was saying is that in case anything of Natalie appeared in the ocean, her remains or whatever, then they would have an excuse. Well, a wave came in and sucked her into the ocean, and the shark got to her. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yes.
It's possible. No, I'm not saying that's a fact, but why else would he mention this?
Well, I'll say something that is a fact, that Natalie did run into sharks, and they are the Kelpo brothers and Joran Vandersloot. If you're just tuning in, Jossy Manser, managing editor of Dario, is with me here now. In fact, maybe I just discredited sharks a little bit by making that comparison. One of the quotes from your tape, Jossy, from Gerald Dompig, and I'm reading here, it says, interesting, when Kelpo lied, they dropped her, no, they were still at the salt pen. That is, for us, something credible. Salt pen is a flat, expansive ground with salt and other minerals. Is Dompig talking about that open area in front of the racket club, or what does he mean on your tape when he's talking about the salt pen?
You know, he doesn't specify. There are no specifics involved in that. But we are very certain by now that these three suspects, when they had Natalie in the car, they drove around with her. They never went to the beach. That's another lie that these people invented to cover themselves. They took Natalie to his apartment or to the house of Paul van der Sloot. I mean, that has been admitted to. In a confrontation that was organized by the police between Joran and Satish and Deepak, Satish and Joran had different versions of it. Joran claims they never left him, they never dropped him off at his apartment. Satish says, we did drop you there.
Right.
So we have a contradiction there. But I believe from the beginning, and I believe this very, very strongly, that they never took her to the beach directly from Carlos and Charlie's. They took her to that apartment or the house of Paul van der Sloot.
Joe Tacopina has said very clearly on news media shows all across the United States and North America that he believes that this case will never come to court. I'm curious your thoughts on that, Jossy.
He's very wrong. I don't know where he gets this information from. Of course this case is coming to court, and I think that it's coming to court within the next 3 months. Karen Jansen guaranteed that this case is going to court, and they will present charges against these three suspects.
If you're just tuning in, Jossy Manser, managing editor of Dario, is here with me, and we're talking more about the breaking news that has come from Aruba in regards to the search for Natalie Holloway. A question here, Jossy. It says, is there any way for you to check, or maybe you know about if Antonio Carlos law firm is representing the government of Aruba in any legal dealings? So is there a conflict there?
I have no knowledge of that. The lawyers for the government are other lawyers. I haven't heard of cases in which Antonio Carlos or his law office is involved for the government. They use other lawyers for their cases in court.
Another question that's come in, and again, if you have questions for Jossy Mansour, you can try and email them to me. We'll get to them as quick as we can. It says, in the very early stages of Natalie's investigation, with the case that Jossy, you were interviewed and you were speaking about the Gardner witness. I recall in this interview, Jossy said something that he'd been having urine followed for several days. I did not understand what Jossy meant by that, and nothing else was ever mentioned about it. Could you ask Jossy what he was referring to? And in the early stages of the interviews with Fox, was he having urine followed, and what came about that?
Who was having urine followed? We weren't having urine followed.
Or was urine being followed by someone? The emailer is asking, they're, I guess, thinking that you had said that you were having Joran van der Sloot followed.
No, absolutely not. We never had anyone followed. I mean, we do this kind of work out of a journalistic point of view. We're investigating it from a journalist point of view, not as policemen. We don't follow people and see what they're doing or what they're up to. We investigate the case. We try to bring up witnesses. And that's another thing that Joe Tacopino said that I found very, very uncalled for. And that is that we brought in this witness and that witness and the other witness. People have to understand this, no? Every single clue that comes in, every single hint that we get, we follow. Sometimes we get witnesses that don't work out, that are just out of bounds with this case or out of contact with the case. But sometimes we get some witnesses that are really very powerful, like the gardener, for example. The gardener's story or his version of what happened has never been disqualified, not even in court. He stood fast with what he said, that he did see the three suspects by the racket club early that morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning. That has never been disproven legally.
If you were to make a prediction, and maybe this is an unfair question for me to ask you, Jossy, if you were to make a prediction on this case, and I know you mentioned 3 months here in the last little while, what do you think is going to happen, and will the contents of your tape, when they come out completely, break this case wide open?
I think it will help break it open, yes, because there's no way of hiding from this truth anymore, from these facts that the lead investigator has confirmed without any question of doubt. I think the case will be broken. I think that the guilty parties will be rearrested, and I think that the case will come to court, and we'll see what happens once that is so.
Jossy Mansour, managing editor of Dario, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll stay in touch and have you on again, and keep your chin up. You're doing good work. It's appreciated by everyone out here. Thanks, Jossy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.